Hi, guys. So, we got a fish about a year and a half ago, and unfortunately, it passed away. And so, we wanted to ask a professional, namely Ziva, a child development specialist, how to handle it because it's really the first time. I mean, besides having to explain to him a little bit where my dad is, but really not getting into any detail, it was the first time that, like, death came up for us, and we wanted to know if it was something we should even bring up, and if so, how we should handle it. So it's just a little checkup with Ziva about how to deal with death and how to just be handling Sonny in general right now during a time when it's just us and we're with him all day long. So I hope that you find this beneficial. Just get a little view into what's going on right now.
Hi, Ziva. Thank you for doing
Hi.
this. We wanted to call you and talk to you because Sonny's fish died, sadly, and we have never told him about death, really. He
No.
watches a cartoon called Wildcrats, and there's an episode where they do talk about like the life cycle of different animals and which animals live for a long time and which, have a smaller life cycle. He might know about it in a way, but I don't know. It seemed like maybe this is when we should try and teach him about it. And since we have no clue how to do that, we wanted you to tell us.
Okay, so let me first ask you what happened with the fish. Does he know even? Did he notice it?
No, he hasn't noticed it at all. But it's still in the tank because Timmy thought that there was a possibility that you would think maybe we had to show him it. So it's just sitting there, but it's been dead for about 2 days now.
Yeah.
And I know. He didn't notice it.
No. It's like
Okay.
it's high up on a shelf,
I
so
could
it's
check
not
it
really in
closer
his
still.
eye line, and he doesn't really pay attention to it too much.
Timmy doesn't need to show me. I can imagine.
No, he's just gonna go close Sonny's door.
I thought he's bringing the fish.
Oh my God.
Let me first respond to your question.
Yeah.
Children at age 2.5 are very self-centered. The world revolves around them. Their only concern when something bad happens is only, am I going to be okay? Is my mommy okay? Is my daddy okay? They don't really, at this point, understand the depth of the loss or the fact that that person or that thing will never come back. They don't understand it yet. I usually tell parents with children under age 3 or 4 is to follow the child's lead. If the child, let's say, sees the fish and says, what happened? Then I would tell them the truth. I would say 2 things. The fish died, and then I would say his body stopped working. The life cycle is the beautiful things to introduce to children, but they really don't get it until they are like, I think 4. They can hear it, it's not causing any problem, but they're not really able to internalize it.
Okay, well, that's also interesting too, to know that they can hear it.
Yes, I remember a family once called me. The grandmother lived in the East Coast, and the child only saw her like twice a year, and she died, and they were like very, very worried. And I said, the thing that you need to share with the child is why he sees daddy and mommy cry, because that's the only thing that is important for him to understand and that he cares about. You can say, grandma's body stopped working and she died. The whole perception of death varies among cultures, but my concern is if they tell a child, the thing or the person is sleeping or in the sky, because then they're very concrete at this age. And, I just now remembered when I worked with your mom, with Vicky, we had a little girl in our class whose mom passed away from cancer.
I remember this.
Yes, and she knew she's dying, so she had a lot of time to prepare. And she told her little girl, which we didn't know, that when I die, you will see me behind every tree and every flower, which is a beautiful thing if we think about it as adults. But your mom and I came to the house after the funeral, and we were with the little girl in her room playing with her. She was like 3. and she kept wanting to go outside to look at the trees and find her mom.
That's so sad.
I know, and we didn't know where it was coming from. And then we understood that her mom, when she said it, really meant a beautiful thing. You know, I love nature. When you're in nature, you can think about me. But for the little 3-year-old, it was like, let's go outside and find her. So that's why with little kids, I only say the body stopped working.
Yeah.
You know, we live now in a very scary time. And I don't know if I would choose at this point to introduce a 2.5-year-old to death.
Right. It's like if he hasn't noticed that he passed away or that he's not there anymore, why bring it up?
Or to tell him the fish, you know, if he asks, I would say, like, does he ever feed the fish? Like, does he look at him? Like, how does he interact with the fish?
He feeds the fish every once in a while, but it's not like he goes and says hi to it every day. So the fish died yesterday, and I was like, okay, should I get rid of it and just move on, or should I, like, we've been saving it in the bowl, should I?
Right. So if he occasionally looks at it, I won't have it disappear. I would say, Sonny, our fish died, his body stopped working, so we can't feed him anymore because his body is not working. I personally would take the little fish and put him in a little something and bury him in the backyard.
But
Sonny?
not with Sonny.
Not with Sonny, or yes with Sonny, whatever you decide, but I will not flush it. I would let him see without, you know, once, if I don't bring an emotional load, you know, here, then it won't be emotional for him. You understand? Like if I was sobbing and crying, then he would be worried about why his mommy said.
Right. I mean,
right?
treat it more like matter of fact, so he's not.
Yes. Or even I won't do it in the toilet, but even I would say his body stopped working. He's not going to be our fish anymore. He can't eat. Did he ever see like a dead ant or bug?
Yeah,
or,
yesterday
Yes.
there was a dead bug in the pool on its back, and he was like, what is this? Like, why isn't it moving?
Okay, so that's, you know, so it's good to start introducing at this age in a very matter of fact, like the bug, oh, I think his body stopped working. And then you can take it out of the pool and put it in the grass. Or if the fish is not something you leave in the grass. So I would just make a little tiny hole outside and put him in. You can say I'm burying him, or I put it here. It's not about introducing him to the death and funeral and everything, but it gives some closure that I think, to me, it feels better than flushing him.
Just so I'm clear, Sonny's going to wake up. I'm going to get the bowl, and I'm going to say, you know, Sonny, Uncle Brett died, which means his body isn't working anymore. And
then I would pause.
Okay, and then I'm going to pause. And then
see what happens.
Right. So if he said, what do you mean it doesn't work anymore?
You'll repeat.
That as best I can. And eventually we're going to be like, all right, now we're going to take him and we're going to put him in a matchbox and we're going to dig a hole. We're going to put him in there because, you know, he doesn't live in here anymore or whatever.
Right.
Keep it like matter of fact. So
yes. Right.
Freaking him out.
Right.
Go out in the backyard and very business-like, just do it. And then be like, okay, let's go get a snack.
Right. Now, if a child is older and the pet that dies is a pet that he was very close to, then, you know, like I talked to a family whose child was 4 and they had a little, what was it? A hamster, something, a little thing that he played with, and it was furry and he loved it. So they did the same thing, but they really did like a little tiny funeral. Meaning they buried him and they all talked about how sad they are and how cute he was.
Right.
And they thought about, let's remember him. And the child said he was always tickling me when he walked up my arm. So that was more, you know, the child was older and it was more like an emotional little ceremony. But I don't think that he's 2.5, right? Sonny is 2.5. So
he'll be 3 in July. Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
so
the seriousness with which you take the ceremony should
Reflect.
correlate with his age and understanding
exactly.
and sort of maturity level to be ready to deal with death.
With the other.
I get it. His whole world is just us. If as long as we're okay,
He's okay.
Right.
need for
Right.
extra trauma.
Yeah.
Right. But I would use the real words.
Yeah,
You know?
don't say
Yeah.
sleep. Like, tell him the truth
Yes.
at
Yeah.
all times.
Yes. He died. And if he says, why, or why, like you can see that he's a little puzzled, you can say, remember Sonny yesterday in the pool, you saw that bug, right?
I liked the answer of like to why being like, because some animals have a shorter life cycle than others. And
Right.
like Uncle Brett is only really supposed to live for 1 to 2 years, and he's 1 in 3 months. I mean, he's not going to get all these numbers, but like he really was supposed to die at this time, and it's
Yes.
okay.
And it's okay.
That's the way
how
we
the
make
world works.
room for
Yeah.
more Uncle Bretts.
Yes, and it's okay to say that. All I'm saying is saying it will not be damaging. It's
Good.
just,
Yeah.
I don't know how much he will internalize.
Right.
Nobody
That's
knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the truth is that when we think about life cycle and death, it's even hard for us to perceive it. It's so hard and it's so puzzling because none of us knows so many, we don't have answers to so many questions.
Right.
How can we expect it to be easy to teach a toddler? I should
Right.
tell you that the other day we potty trained him.
Yeah.
And we were looking around for him when we heard the toilet flush, and we looked at each other like, did Sonny just go to the bathroom without telling us and then flush the toilet? And then he comes walking out with his shirt tucked into his underwear, and he was like, I went to the bathroom by myself. It was
Wow. Amazing.
It was great.
My mom even said to me today, she was like, Whitney, I feel like you guys are doing everything right. As a mom, to hear your
Yes.
mom say that, it just felt so nice. So yeah, he's been a wonderful distraction for sure, more than anything else. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ziva. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome anytime. I'm here. I'm working now from home, so I'm either on this chair or on that chair.
You have